now I have the leverage where like these lenders are like begging me to be like, okay, we want to give you loans. We'll give you a line of credit.
So the big question is, what are the top agents doing to absolutely crush it in real estate, grow their teams, and add more transactions year over year while so many struggle? If you ever thought about this, you're not alone. No one has been able to get the answers until now.
We spent the last few years helping agents sell billions in real estate, rubbing shoulders with top producers, which got us thinking, how can we expose more people to these insights to help raise the standard in the whole real estate industry? We then realized that we could help bridge the gap by getting the secrets from the best of the best so that you can succeed. My name is Andrew Dunn.
And my name is Peter Michael. Welcome to Elite Agent Secrets.
Well, speaking of places to live, we hear you've got quite a few.
I do.
We're moving into one of Brian's properties.
Yeah. Brian's got like loads of properties, giving them away for free. You know what? There's so many now. He's got to this point. He's like,
investing 101 right here, right now.
Yeah, exactly. This is huge for you, right? Like investing is a massive part of your life.
Yeah.
So let's have the rundown here because I'm curious. I'm sure everyone else is. How the hell you're obviously doing 100 million. Now you're investing, you're buying properties, you're flipping, you're doing all this stuff. So let's break them down because
what Andrew's trying to politely say is, how the hell do you spend your money? We want to know. And I know you invest, or we know that you invest. So give us a little investing 101 class on here.
Yeah. So bringing it back to coaching again, right? My first investment properties and how I started was, this is years ago, like my first year in the business was a guy I was coaching baseball with. And he's like, hey man, I know you're in the business. I see you do investment stuff. I've been thinking about buying some rental properties. And I'm like, you know what? Me too. But I don't quite have enough money to do it all. You want a partner? You know what I mean? That was the synchronicity. And, me and him have, I think, seven units together now. So that was one of my first relationships, again, just from networking, people I know, completely organic and random, but they're out there, but I started getting investing because look, this is still my thought process. I want to own as many rentals as I possibly can because the value of real estate is always going to go up. Always, even if it comes down a little bit, it's always going to be on an upward trajectory, right? So why not put my money into an asset that's going to continue to appreciate over the long term, that's going to provide back tax benefits for me, and it's also going to pay me a passive income, month after month after month after month. So that's my main focus is always building that rental portfolio. But what I started doing after the first one, because we bought that first property cash, right? We split it 50-50. It was like a $50,000 shithole from 1896. You know what I mean? And at the time,
probably Haddonfield, Cherry Hill, Marlton, one of those.
Medford, actually.
Medford. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. And it was, right there on Main Street. I'm like, this is cool. I mean, it was a disaster though. And it had so many issues. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know is this good to put our money into, whatever it is. Well, I mean, look, if that property is probably worth $200K now, that was 3 years ago. You know what I mean? We paid $50 for it. It cash flows for us $1,600 a month. The rent is $1,600 less taxes of, $400 or $500. So it cash flows $1,000 a month. I mean, it's a beautiful property, but that's you're always going to be nervous to get into it because you never know if it's a good deal. You're always going to have those questions is this the right one? But you just got to get the first one and then build off there and you start to see it. So what I started doing though, because that strapped me for a little bit, I was new in the business. I put up a chunk of change. We had to rehab it. We probably put $30K into it after we got it. So I was running on fumes for a year just to get that property under my belt. We ended up buying the property next to it. Like a few months later, it also came up for foreclosure for double the price. It was literally listed for $100,000. And I remember sending the HUD to the bank. Like, I just bought the house next door for $50,000. And they're like, oh man, they were like a bank from San Francisco. They didn't know anything. And they gave it to me for 55. So now we had like these neighboring.
Wow, dude, what a steal.
Yeah, I mean, back then, that stuff could happen in 2017. Like, you could negotiate. Now it's like, how much extra do you want to pay over our asking price?
30%, 50%.
I mean, a funny story. We had someone send an offer, right, that they included in their offer. They're a bulldog, like a breeded bulldog, because they knew the family wanted a bulldog, and they like bred them. So they're like, we'll also include a bulldog with our offer. That's how crazy the market is right now.
They must have won. Did they win? Please say they won.
They did. They got it. You know what I mean? But they had the best offer. They had a great offer. And I guess they had talked to the family, and they were like, yeah, if you guys, we'll breed one for you or whatever. But it's just funny. Like, people are thinking out of the box now. You know what I mean? It wasn't really part of the transaction. It was just funny that they brought it up. So
that stuff really makes the difference, though, man, because it's so personal.
Right.
It's actually not about the price of the dog at this point. It's like they actually took note of this. They've made an offer that is like very personal to us.
Yeah, that was like luck. I don't know how. I guess they came home when they were leaving and they saw a dog or something and started talking about them. Sometimes that's what happens. Like, we didn't even know they talked. You know what I mean? So it's like,
that's the crazy story. Like, I just put in an offer on a property, and it was an older gentleman who rose and had his whole family basically in that house. And my client is looking to essentially do the same exact thing. It's going to be a family home. It's literally a home where the family from Texas can come, from Jersey and Maine can come. And I literally sent pictures of the family with the offer, with a little letter of, hey, we know we're not going to be your highest offer. I am going to be your strongest offer, but this is what this house means to my clients. Literally, send it. And we saved $5,000 on that deal. We were not the highest offer, but we got it. We're actually closing in about 2 weeks because of that personal connection of what it meant to him and why he was selling. Because I asked the listing agent, why is this guy selling? He's been the owner for the last like 30 or 40 years. You know, like what's going on here? It's like, oh, he rose his family here. The kids went to college. He's looking to move back into the area, like back up north. I'm like, perfect. This is how we tailor this story. And lo and behold, you're bringing up the story with the bulldog. It's got to be thinking a little bit outside the box.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we list a lot of properties, so we see stuff like that, all the time. And look, some sellers are like, we just want the highest number, and some sellers are like, okay, we're more sentimental about the house.
Yeah.
I'm a big car guy. People have listened. I tend to go to and talk about cars a lot. Now, people like houses and cars are super sentimental. And you especially find with like older cars as well, it's never about price. It's like, if I sell you this car, are you going to chop it up and like fuck it up?
Yeah.
If so, like, I'm not selling it to you. Like, it's not going to, I don't care if you're going to pay me the most. Like, I want to know if I sell this to you, that in 30 years time, it's essentially going to look exactly the same as the day I give it to you.
Yeah.
Because but when you're that age, you've put your kids through college, all that stuff. It's not about money anymore.
Right.
It's not about money.
Yeah.
It's about like moving someone and helping someone else out. It's like generational, isn't it? It's not even about helping your family. It's like helping someone else's family, getting up, starting their life,
Right.
And, you get, I think whether we want to I think most people get to a point in their life where they just want to give back even to essentially random people, because like, that's just, I think, the point that most people come to in their older years, where it's like, I don't need the money anymore. Like, everyone's grown up. Like, I've done what I wanted to do. And like, I'm just ready to downsize and relax a little bit, but I want this to go to a decent family. Right. It's not about that extra 10 grand.
Yeah.
It's about it going to a decent home,
Yeah.
Well, right now it is about the 10 grand when it comes to investing, because you just saved 45, but how the hell do you find your deals that somebody can, implement
Yeah,
in their own market, not in your backyard because you got that on lock.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, like when you're first getting into it, you have to save up a little bit of money, and you just got to get the first property, because what happens is when you want to grow the business, you have to be able to you're going to need funding, right? And a lot of these companies or lenders that do investment properties, they don't care about credit or anything like that. They care about experience.
Cash in the bank.
No, they want experience. They say, how many homes have you flipped? How many properties do you own? Let me see your portfolio. They don't care about anything. They don't care if you could have negative money in the bank, but if you have experience investing, they're going to loan you money with a proven track record of it being profitable and not defaulting on those properties or whatever it may be. So you have to get your foot in the door with that first property. And when I was so strapped in the beginning from the first one, I was like, man, how do I keep coming up with this? Like, yeah, I'm going to sell a lot of real estate and make money and use that. But what I started doing was, all right, let's buy a flip the property, take that property profits and reinvest it into down payments on rentals. So it's like, I'm not taking my flip profit and then getting a Lamborghini. I'm taking my flip profit and I'm putting a down payment on a rental property. And then it's just like, it keeps feeding it. So now the flips
long-term
feed the rentals and the flips feed the rentals. So I'm essentially buying rental properties with zero money out of pocket. And then I have the leverage where like these lenders are like begging me to be like, okay, we want to give you loans. We'll give you a line of credit. It's like the money is there. And
take my money, please.
Yeah, that's not the problem. Like funding a deal is not an issue now. The issue is finding them. Do you know what I mean?
I was going to say, so is your goal now genuinely to be like, I'm just going to have a fucking huge real estate portfolio? Is the only thing that's stopping you not having, say, 100 homes now purely market, as in like you just can't find them?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like that is like huge. This is where you're going big.
Right.
You're going to
I look at properties every single day. You know what I mean? I run the numbers. I see if they're going to cash flow. I see if the BRRRR strategy is going to work on whatever approach we're going on a certain rental. But they're few and far between where I'm like, man, if I just knew in 2017, I would have bought 100 of them. You know what I mean? But
well, I got some good news for you. Francis and I are doing some stuff down here in South Florida. Yeah. There's some inventory. We have to chat after this podcast is over.
We definitely will. And right now, all of my rental portfolios in Jersey. You know, because I know it so well. I know this market.
We just broke ground and broke his cherry on the first deal. We're actually closing on Monday right now. It was listed for 480, got it for 457, negotiated down for 447, appraised before renovation for 500. After appraisal value is closer to 7. If I talk him into a pool, we're talking about 750, which puts him about 150, 200K equity in the house that we'll refi, pull out into the next one with.
Right. Yep. Yeah, and Francis, I know he does those. You know, that's his first one down there, but he's done them in Philly, and that's the game. You know what I mean? Everyone's got different approaches. Like I've got guys who just for me, like my main focus is a little more similar to Francis. Like I'm looking for properties that are going to appreciate more over the long term. So I will pay a little more higher end rentals that have less cash flow for the long-term appreciation. But I do have some other properties that really won't appreciate too much over the next 10 years, but they cash flow a lot every month. I lean more towards the appreciation, like $1,000 a month. You know what I mean? For $80K. You know what I mean? Like they're low end properties, but they cash flow high. But in 10 years, they're still worth about the same amount. Whereas like you can get a property for 200 or 250 and it's going to cash flow $300 a month, you know, which isn't a lot. But in 10 years, that property is now worth 450. So you're building your net worth over time. You're not cash flowing. You're not living off that cash flow, but you're also not paying. Someone's paying that mortgage for you. You know what I mean? And you're just collecting on the appreciation.
Patience, ladies and gentlemen, patience.
Yeah.
Have you thought about when this is maybe putting you on the spot a bit? Have you thought about a bit of a crossroads that you might come to at some point with your giant ass team doing crazy money and like imagining having a portfolio of like, you know, what point do you go, actually, it's like these rentals, this portfolio is like the thing, because I've got 100, I've got 200, 300, 400 properties. It's like, you're now making 100 grand net a month, you know, like when at your point, have you thought ahead where you're like, I want to be at 500 properties and then I'm done?
Right.
You know?
I mean, I don't know when I would be done. And people ask me that, like,
He's hungry.
Just getting started. In his eyes. I'm still just getting started. But even like, if I was sitting on 500 properties, it's like, I'd probably be like, what's the next project? You know, like, I'm just weird like that. You know what I mean? Like, I would put in staff in place, you know, and I've talked about that. I've talked about that with staff that I have here now. Like, it, you know, as we scale this business and the rental business grows, like, where do we go? Where do we put the right team in place? Because it's hard. You can't do both all the time. So you have to have the right assets in place that are going to be able to manage the business, grow it with you. And like, whether that is giving equity stakes of that business to have partners, like, I'm fine with that stuff as long as they're the right partners. I think it's beneficial when someone has an equity stake in a business, they're going to make that thing run.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
They want it to grow because now they have personal incentives to make it happen.
100%.
So I think it's huge to bring the right partners in. But I mean, I don't know. My first goal is get to 100 properties. I'm still a ways away. You know what I mean? And ultimately, I'd like to scale into like the large multifamily business. Yeah. But I'll say this like openly. I don't know that game. Like, I don't know where to find those deals. That's a big money game. I don't get it. So right now I'm like duplexes, quadplexes, and some singles. You know what I mean? And I'm just building there. And then is it maybe I sell all those off and jump into a multifamily with, you know, in 10 years. I don't know what the game is there, but ideally I would like to own like multi-unit properties. And even if I have to start with like a 24-unit complex, I'd be golden with that. But like, man, I know someone that just bought a 308-unit property for $77 million out here. And I'm like, man, how do I get there? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's where my interest lies too, actually. Like, I'm basically when people are like, what do you want to invest in? I'm like, imagine a block of flats, like a tower block just full of people like that. Like, they're like, do you want to buy like $1 million home? Like, fuck no. Like huge tower blocks in cities and I want loads of them. That's my goal.
And they're hard to come across. You know, those aren't like market deals. Those are, you basically need headhunters on staff to find those deals for you. And that's what these guys do. But this is a whole larger scale. You know what I mean?
Totally different.
I'm like, maybe the best bet for me to get my foot in the door in that business is developing something. Like, do I buy property and develop a 24-unit, you know, apartment rental, or is that
create your own opportunity, break that door down?
Right. So who knows where it's going to go? But right now it's scaling the small multifamilies, duplex, quadplex, and some singles if they make sense, and just growing it from there. And the rental market is outrageous, where I used to try to shy away from single family rentals, but right now it is a hot commodity. You know what I mean? They're
getting top dollar.
Yeah. They used to not cash flow as much, and it wasn't like the best investment. But now you're talking about crazy appreciation on single family homes and excellent rental prices.
Dude, like, talking about rental prices before we wrap up here. In my city, for $2,200, you can get a mobile home down the street. It is ridiculous of what this rental market down here is in Southeast Florida.
Right.
So I can't imagine. I mean, being from Jersey as well, we're talking about Medford, Marlton, Burlington County, Camden County. It's always been a little bit more expensive, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So now it's more, Ooh,
Yeah,
that hurts.
yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. I mean, it really is. And they can't. There's a development right outside of our office that went up with 400 units. They rented out before they were even built, and have a waiting list of like a year to get in there.
Wow.
They can't put up the rentals fast enough, and the rental prices are insane. I think they're like, it's like $2,600 for like a 2-bedroom condo. You know, like a tiny little 2-bedroom condo.
750, 900 square feet, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, now outrageous prices. Yep. So
I remember when I was buying my house in 16, that same type of, place would be like $1,100 or $1,200, and you'd be like, "Oh, that is so much money."
yeah.
That's why I ended up buying, because I was like, crap, I'm going to spend $1,300-$1,400 on a mortgage. Might as well have a 1,500, square foot home in the middle of the city, close to my, at that time, corporate job,
Right.
I have no sympathy for you guys at all, right? Because I lived in New York and I lived, right? This is no.
Oh, you can get a studio for like $5,000.
Yeah, for the low price of $10,000 a minute.
Yeah, that is a crazy market, man. And we had a client like
double room, right, with an ensuite, and that was it. And then it was a shared living area. It was $2,500 a month for double room with an ensuite.
Wow. I guess it's the law of real estate, right? When you run out of room, everything becomes more expensive. It's like the shore, like the beach towns here explode. Yeah. The city's always been like that, but yeah, it is crazy. I mean, we had a client that sold a 700 square foot studio in New York, and I think he sold it for like, I don't know, $800,000-$900,000. We weren't part of that transaction, but he came out here and bought like a mega mansion. It was 6,000 square feet. You know what I mean? Like, I was living in a studio, like literally you could see my mattress from the kitchen. You know what I mean? Like, and now I live in this house. I'm like,
how all those people are moving down here? What the fuck?
Have you seen there's a picture, there's like one of these, all these memes and or whatever it is, and there's this picture, and it was what you get in New York for like 150, 200 grand, right? And it is literally basically a closet with a single bed in, and you can easily touch both sides. You can almost touch it lengthways. What you get in Texas for 150, it's like a 6-bedroom house with a swimming pool, with like, acres of land.
Yeah,
and it's like, have people gone fucking insane?
Yeah,
like, what is that?
It's such a funny thing too, because we have clients that come from New York to South Jersey. We have clients that come from Texas or South Carolina to New Jersey, and it's like, the people coming from like New York or Cali come here and are so grateful for what their money can buy them. They're like, this is amazing. Look at the yard. This is crazy. And then you got people from Texas and like South Carolina that come, relocate to Jersey, and they're like shivering. Like, is this really what I get for $400,000?
Where's the rest of it? Is this a joke?
We're not used to this. You know what I mean?
Listen, I think this is a great place to wrap up, Brian. So tell people if they want to reach out to you, team stuff, investing stuff, however, if you're open to it, whether it's social media, phone, email, like let people know where they can get in touch. Yeah,
I mean, reach out to the team or to me right on social media. My social media is brian.colonna. That's on Instagram or Facebook. And then the team is the Val Nunnenkamp team, at the Val Nunnenkamp team. So check us out and you'll see what we're all about.
I think you guys are running a little fundraiser right now too. Do you want to promote any of that? Support for your teams?
Is that for Wolf Stock tomorrow? That's tomorrow. It's going to be 2 days to promote it. Yeah, but we're always running fundraisers. If you guys just follow us on Instagram or follow us on Facebook, you'll see us posting stuff all the time. I mean, every month we have different events, different fundraisers coming up. So definitely check us out. Come see us.
Perfect. Well, Brian, we appreciate having you on. It's been awesome. It's been a great chat, and I hope everyone loved listening to it as much as we loved hosting you. So thanks for listening to this episode, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode. Now, before you go, we're giving access to a private training we did where we revealed the top 3 niches to get listings today completely for free. So if you want access, you can go and download that training at eliteagentsecrets.com. We're regularly releasing new trainings, guides, and cheat sheets, so make sure to head over to eliteagentsecrets.com and sign up so you don't miss out.